managed to get my main planet thing to increase the precision of, or no, to generate our ocean tiles, and also to encode the depth as the vertex color on the ocean mesh so that we have access to it in our material, our ocean material. But I have some ideas here.
Oh, I saw someone up there.
So what we're gonna do is, okay, so the
Maybe not.
255.
Oh, holy shit, Kuta. Thank you for the 20 gifted members, brother.
When I get from the material, what
How is he
format
still alive?
is the vertex color?
Oh, God, such unfortunate timing.
So we only need one channel to store the depth data. Is there any way we could use the other 3 channels?
I'm so down for just this truce.
Increase the
Holy
precision
shit. Data. A moment to breathe. I hear him shuffling around. Did he take that? Is that what I heard? That'll work.
It would need to be a way such
Alternator's not bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
Reconstruct the origin depth. Ratio from material.
I'm coming. Oh, God, Christ.
Splitting your depth value multiple components from each component.
Something just fell. I think it was in my closet. Don't tell me he was shooting at me the whole time. I was AFK for a second.
Okay. We would want to use the alpha channel as well. All 4 channels to get as high precision as
Oh, the Sentinel's big. Alright. I don't know, I've been really liking the Mastiff though. Fuck it. Wait, no sniper ammo. Wait, this is tragic. Someone's close.
Alright. Let's give that a shot.
Oh, it's a stream sniper. Get out of here, scram!
Something playing? Yeah, I do. Okay. Get rid of that. Alright, so we're going to want to take this depth value. 2 depth times so yeah, we want to okay, a couple things. Want to clamp between 0 and 1. Multiplying it, and we would use a rounding assigning it to depth int rather than just letting it truncate. If math clamp. All right, beautiful. So, like, what we're basically gonna do is split this, is like scale this value up into a really big int, right? In a way that we can reconstruct it back down into. We're just trying to get as high precision as possible here, because like only going from 0 to 255 doesn't actually give us a ton of precision, but if we do this, we'll have quite a bit of precision, hopefully. All right. Um, F color, C F color. C color dot R equals. And I thought with additional channels that we should be able to do this. Sixteen eight. Add vertex color. Okay, there we go. So we do this. This should encode it in a way that should make it more precise, although we will have to do a little bit of extra work in our material when we get back in. this will have to integrate with a proper sea level system instead of just using the base radius. So this should break it because we haven't reconstructed it in the material yet. Actually seems fine, but okay, so now how do we get that value back? God, it's so much nicer. Oh my god, it's amazing. All we need is the vertex color now. So, okay. Now, in your material, use the following logic. Vertex color, depth, R times this. Green times this. Blue times this. Alpha times this. Up, 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 up. G times 65. 36. 256. 6. Plus A. Plus, plus, divide. No, no, no. This way. Alright, that did not work. Interesting. Alright, so wait. Try building it one more time. Something on TV. Can you explain what this does? I think it takes, like, I feel like I'm supposed to bitwise right shift, shifts a bit, 16 points to the right. If depth is 32 bit, shifting right. Okay, I see. See. Okay. Yep. Just wanted to know. Let's look at this again. Okay, let's see. So I've encoded my. So I have encoded my color like so. And I am attempting to store it in screen. Multiply, 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 add, divide. Okay, multiply, multiply, add, 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 divide. This doesn't seem right. So, yeah, it's not right. Um, those numbers seem off. If our max is shouldn't we expect our total? If our max is this, and each channel is normalized from 0 to 255, is normalized from 0 to 1, then our max would just be the sum of multipliers, or 16,777,216 plus 65536 plus 256 plus 1, which does not add up to our max. Correct? We are missing something. Did we 1 to 255? Yeah. So what we actually need is there we go. That seems more like it. Alright, so now we have our ocean again. And what about over here on the shoreline? How's our precision? We should be able to, so like, I could see some precision issues when I was debugging this yesterday, when I had it set in wireframe mode. So, wireframe. I think we're good. You could see like little terraces where it would be like, oh, we didn't have the precision to store it. But now I think we're good. we could also do like a fall off. So if we wanted to, we could come over here and do like a 0.5 to intensify the to make it take effect over a shorter range. Wait, hang on. Saturate. No, that's not gonna work. Alright, so no, no, no. Cannot use power here. Just plug this in, save it. Cool. Pretty cool. We could also just directly encode our depth value, like our actual. If we have 32 bits, we could encode our actual distance. Debating if that would be better or not. I have to do a little bit more work in the material like that. Um, but, but, if we did that, we would have a directly multiplicable, like, we could just, okay. Um, alright, so let's try something a bit different. If we have 32 bits to work with, we should be able to directly encode actual depth value rather than having to convert it to a proportion. I mean, we just do this. So if we have the depth as a float distance, can we directly encode this distance of to divide 4 8-bit components, maintain precision. Hmm. I've never seen that. That's interesting. Okay, let's try this union thing. Union. Dyslexia getting me. Depth. Depth union. F equals depth. Depth. And I. So like this. Um, how do I reinterpret the int as a float in the shader graph? Okay, custom node. Float one. Input. Integer in. It should break, but then if we rebuild, yeah. So you'd expect this to break, right? Yes. All right, but then if we rebuild here, oh, sorry, I wasn't reading chat. I would say I don't think that there's really any difference. The between four like the only difference is speed, and speed was not the bottleneck. Accuracy is the bottleneck. So as far as the accuracy goes, I feel like it's about identical to GPT-4 that I was using already. It's just faster. And like I said, I don't care if it's faster because I'm usually typing in a query and then going and doing something else for 5 minutes and then coming back and checking the result of the query. So I would say no. For my purposes, there's no tangible difference between the two models except for the speed, which is nice. It's like a nice quality of life thing, but it's not like the amount of time it takes to build something is so much longer than the amount of time it takes to spit out a prompt even at the slower speed that it's like kind of insignificant. I'm sure for things that are like time sensitive, it's great. But as far as like being more accurate with its like coding decisions and stuff, no, you still have to babysit it. It still gets shit wrong all the time. Did it work? And then I don't think it worked. Okay. Oh wait. Yep, we don't want that saturate node. We want to directly multiply this. No, still no dice. So worst case scenario, we can always go back to doing it as a as a integer. But I really want to figure this out. So like basically, the idea here is that your wave height and in some ways your wavelength, although I haven't rigged it up with that, is partially determined by the depth of the water that you're over. But there's no good way in the material to get that information into the mesh. It's just not really doable. So I've refactored my mesh generation to generate both land and sea chunks, and at generation time, we can get the depth because we have both verts in hand. So we have the land layer that we rendered and the sea layer that we rendered. We have both verts in hand. So we can determine the depth at that point, right? And then what I'm doing is encoding that depth into the vertex color on the ocean mesh because that can be read from inside the material. But that uses an F color, and F color is just 0 to 255 in 4 channels, right? So you don't have a lot of precision in a single channel. What I want to do, what I'm trying to do right now, is take the float distance that we calculated at full precision, and instead of encoding it into a single color channel, break it up into 4 channels so that we can encode the float with full precision and then reconstruct it inside the material. And that would let us get our direct, precise ocean depth at any given vertex in the material itself. We already successfully did that with a ratio, like a 0 to 1. But having the actual depth would be nice because, like, right now I have to kind of fudge my amplitude calculation But if I just had directly the depth of the water, I can use that directly in the amplitude calculation. I don't have to do like any more calculations. I don't have to like check the radius of the thing and try to figure out like, oh well, you got 5% noise scale, so we're gonna use 5% of the radius. No, we can just take the depth of the ocean and feed that as a parameter into the amplitude, hopefully. But that did not work. Okay, so okay, let's double check my work because that is not working yet. I have this code to encode the values. I should have deleted the commented out stuff. All right, so each of these values should be 255 times the values that it's pasting here. Maybe for clarity's sake, we just do double no, I don't think we do double multiplies. Okay. These are right because we were using them a second ago. Add them all together. Ah, yes. There we go. We don't want to divide them anymore. Because... yeah, we don't want to divide them anymore because we're converting it directly to a float. Or trying to. So let's save that. There's some waviness. Let's go to a deeper spot in the ocean. Out here is pretty deep, I think. Hmm. Let's see. So code. Our values are just smaller now because we're not like basing it off of the planet radius, but instead basing it on the actual depth of the ocean at that point. Let's check shoreline. I think we're good actually. Yeah, I think it's good. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So now our waves are actually calculated using the depth at a given point as the amplitude. So we had a sandbar like under the waves here, or a mountain or something. We would get shallower waves specifically in that spot. So like here is a good example. Where flat waves around this island, but then they pick up. Okay, this is super cool. Um, let's increase the intensity of the waves for academic purposes. And this is like now we can have waves of up to 10% of our depth, 5 to 10% of our depth. So this is great. This is super cool. It's a little much here. But it is neat. We also need to modulate like our wavelength, which would probably fix a lot of a lot of the weirdness here since our wavelength is not getting modulated by the depth either. But this is what we wanted as far as the effect goes. I don't think once I'm done figuring out the actual generation of the waves, the proper scaling of them and whatnot based on the shoreline, which it looks like we've kind of got cracked at this point. Um, I don't think it's going to take that long to figure out stuff like peak foam, edge foam, things like that are a lot easier to do than what we've already figured out. It's just cool to watch. Pretty neat. So let's take it out of wireframe mode. Could do like a 2.5 and a 0.5. All right, hell yeah. So we now get our precise depth decoded from saving it as basically encoding it in our vertex color on our ocean shader is what we've done. And this is all usable with a solid shading model, so we get the data even though we have like single layer water set. If we want to have our waves like kind of lap on the shore, because like obviously right now at the point of these vertices we have such a small depth that we can't get very much amplitude at all. We can add like a floor to it to where like it's always going to have at least a little bit of contribution, right? Add like a floor of like 10 or something. Hell yeah, this is great. All right, so I need to walk my dog and get some lunch. And after that, I'm going to come back and work on a little bit of just like refactor cleanup because I think that at this point our planet generator is getting pretty mature, but the mesh generation I did a bunch of like open heart surgery on that yesterday, and there's a bunch of stuff I want to put in. Like I want to keep track of the land minimum height and see if it doesn't ever for a given chunk go below sea level, then we don't need to render that ocean chunk. But currently we are, right? So like I don't need to render any of these ocean chunks. Only the ones that where a piece of the chunk would be under the sea level at any point. So like we keep track of the min elevation for a given chunk as we generate the mesh, and we flag a boolean if it ever goes below a certain value. And then when we do our chunk generation, we only generate the ocean chunks if that's the case. That should speed it up a pretty good amount. What else? It already looks good. So like whenever I finish kind of code cleanup and housekeeping, we'll be moving on to the actual like making the ocean material. Like we have the waves now. We have our fractal wave function that gets us a pretty good appearance. I need to generate normal. Ooh, what was that? Oh no. That's interesting. Does that happen when it's opaque? Like just regular opaque? Or is that something that is happening from the, yeah, so that's something that's occurring in the single layer water shader. I think that's fine because I got a series of videos from Ben Cloward that was doing this without the single layer water shader. It's doing it with translucency, and I like the look of them, so I might try to do it that way. No, 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 no. What the fuck? Okay, obviously we have an issue. It appears to be an issue with the mesh generation. Oh, I see. It's like we just don't have the precision. Okay, we can fix that. We just come in here and make this like a 4. Okay, crisis averted. Basically, at 2, we don't have the precision and the resolution um, to properly generate the ocean so that it doesn't overlap. The other cool thing, okay, this is the other cool thing about using the actual depth as the amplitude, uh, or as a part of the amplitude, is you can only have waves up to a certain scale of your actual depth, which means you should never have waves that like scoop out and reveal the ocean floor, right? Because if we only can have up to 5% of our total depth in our wave height, then the waves can never go down here and scoop out towards the ocean floor. And that should apply even as we come into our coastlines, which is one of the problems I was just having, is that like You could have a big wave out here that like scoops down low enough to reveal the ocean floor, which should never happen. But since now the waves are a proportion of the precise height or the precise depth at that point, at no point should it ever be able to do that. All right, cool, cool, cool. Okay, I'm gonna go take my dogs out. I'll be back a little bit later on today. Later.